मैं किशोर कुमार सिन्हा, डीन एग्जीक्यूटिव एजुकेशन in Birla Institute of Management Technology. I don't know how my story has evolved over a period of time. I am nearing 75 in 2 weeks after celebrate my birthday on the 8th next month. Uh, I recall Babuji in the village next to river Lakhandi, Himalayan river of Lakhandi. We were mostly a rural people living there, depending on cultivation and agriculture. But as Babuji wanted to study, he came to town and was survived because the catastrophe of plague which took away the entire family actually in the house. And he was the sole survivor who came back to the village, remarried, and we were born. We developed over a period of time into the so-called urbanites, but the first up to schooling in class 6th or the middle school, we went to village school. The teaching was Hindi, Sanskrit, mathematics, history, geography, no English of course. And up to class 6 it went on like this. First 4 class we had sessions of curriculum, and the remaining 4 sessions after the lunch we used to go outside. It was all outside training in the paddy field or in the vegetable field or carpentry field, or we were doing even the carpet weaving, we were doing the cloth weaving and thread making. So it was a multi-purpose school based on the Gandhian education system that he laid down. And well, the study went on like that. And suddenly, when Babuji got a city posting, so-called bigger town in Ranchi, which was the education hub, he thought he'll collect all the kids who were lent to various family members to grow. I came back from Ekangar Sarai to Ranchi. I don't know how I managed my admission in St. John's, a Jesuit school, but I managed because holidays were there in summer and I studied. And it was a challenge. I was very poor student in mathematics and so was in English. But by the time I reached matriculation, I could make over and came out in the first division, which was a matter of pride at that time. Went to St. Xavier's, did my economics honors from Patna University, and also personal management or labor and social welfare from Patna University, where I managed a gold medal again. I don't know how I managed. Maybe my wife, who was still not married to me, but had magical spell on me that I must study and develop ourselves, because there was nothing else other than agriculture or possibility of education, which was at the time of independence what father saw, and he educated all 4 brothers. After my college, I managed a what you call award of ILO Day in Tata's. Tata's was a pride for particularly the Biharis then, and I was invited as a VIP. I never traveled first class in my life. Bought a new shirt and went to the function to receive the award. And the chief guest was then the famous Rusi Modi. And I must mention Rusi Modi because I had good encounters with him. He gave a good speech on the investiture ceremony, और उन्होंने बताया अपने बारे में that I wanted to study in Oxford, but my mother in India, she won't let me go, she won't let me alone. So वो हमें हमेशा रोकती थी, लेकिन somehow हमने मना लिया उसको कि हमें जाने दो इंग्लैंड, मैं पढ़ूंगा वहाँ जाकर, and she agreed. So she used to give me some kind of a tips how to behave in England as we go, because England, lot of etiquette, lot of culture of So I think she used to narrate, take off your cigar whenever you meet a woman there. There needs a lot of chivalry and respect. Take off your hat, but whatever else you take off depends on your luck. And the whole auditorium was full of laughter. It was an interesting Rusi pun. And at the time of tea at the end of the ceremony, he said, "If you pass out, son, come over and let me know. There will be some place for you in Tisco." Well, I came out enthusiastic, but when I got the gold medal, I wrote to him at least half a dozen letters in about 6 to 8 months. There was no reply. And that was a Rusi pun that I came to understand later and realized. By the time I managed a competitive entrance in Hindustan Steel Limited, which was a major public sector undertaking coming up, the largest, one of the largest then. That was also a matter of pride. We saw country. I had not seen anything outside Bihar then, till then. And uh, when I joined the training program, I went to Durgapur, Bhilai Steel, Rourkela Steel, and so many other places. Met so many people which we had never had. They were all professionals, seasoned people, also young people. So much of learning began for us. So much of learning began for us. And at that time, I realized that every moment could be a learning. It has not finished with the college or university exams that I have done well. It has to continue. And as I joined Hindustan Steel, I was posted to their central coal washeries. The coal, which was the worst part of the steel making business and making business. And I was posted to Dhanbad, and then I was posted to Santaldi, the poorest of the villages in West Bengal, where we had a washery. And that was just after the first 2 years of my service. On an accelerated promotion, I was posted there. It was a deserted place, but green, very lush green forest. But being poor or very poor district, it was infested with the Naxal or the left parties and groups. There were a lot of violence, there were a lot of explosions. Every alternate day or maybe once in a week, there will be explosion in my township somewhere in some house, and we will run and we'll rush. There was a lot of challenge. There was a lot of threat. I was scared also. Being young, not seen or heard about such incidents so much, not very close, I was scared also. But then it was there. I remember once, I must narrate this. Once when I was returning from Dhanbad in the monsoon, back by road to Santaldi, the usual way we used to wade through the river of Damodar in the summer, but rains it was impossible because Damodar was a furious river and it was always in big spate in the rainy season. So we went to Circuitous Bay via Panchat Dam of Damodar Valley. When we crossed the dam, it was a narrow one-lane road. On the forest, we saw a tree felled on the road. So we thought it must be a monsoon breeze or wind which must have uprooted the tree. But the driver said, no, it is a cut tree and put on the road. So he stopped the car. And as soon as he stopped the car, there was a bomb thrown on our windscreen. And I don't know what happened. All four of us, the front was the driver and the trade unionist, famous trade unionist of UTUC. At the back, I and a friend of mine who was a batchmate but senior guy in age. We all responded to the call of trade unionist, Palau, run away. So we all came down one side and started running down the road in the paddy field. I don't know how much time we must have run, maybe 1 hour. We lost our shoes in the mud and all. Somewhere we saw a lantern light, a couple of hutments, and I recall how we were out of breath being young, I was hardly 23, 24, being young. But then those villagers gave us shelter, food, warmth, and every time I used to hear footsteps of people following us, but there was none. In the morning, the villagers took us to the road. The car was stripped out, everything, the seats, the steering wheel, except the shell of it. We managed some help from Damodar Valley and returned back. But that was an epiphany for me. I think what Gandhi experienced in Peter Maritzburg when he was thrown out of the compartment of the train, and whole night he spent in the cold breeze of Peter Maritzburg, the epiphany or the revelation was different. He said, "Kill me anymore. I will not be killed or let you kill me again second time." And that thought gave us courage. I must have seen hundreds of agitations, violent shooting, killing, but never scared. Made all situations with tough kind of disposition. That was a change in my life. That was a revelation which brought a change. And I don't know, we call it HR, we call it human relations, or then we used to call it personal management or even labor and social welfare. But people relations were very important. There were agitation, there were violence, there were hatred also, but there was a lot of love. And that is what we used to cultivate with people, and that is what used to make us strong to face any kind of difficult or challenging situations in life. As soon as I finished, I started recalling my school days, village rural school days memoir. I remember Gandhian Way, as I said, multi-purpose school. At 4 o'clock, we'll all assemble in under a tree, banyan tree or something, or mawa tree. Have a singing songs around. These are moments of epiphany, I would say, and singing songs and waking up the villagers. That it's time to wake up. The country is independent. I remember this was 1954-55. And there was a call that Panchit Lama is visiting Nalanda along with Pandit Nehru. And our school, there were very few schools then. Our school was given an opportunity of presenting a national anthem, and the high school, the Rashtragan of Vande Mataram. We were asked to walk all the way. I don't know, the shortcut they said was 25 kilometers. Nalanda was farther. And we kept on walking 2 days and nights in the rain, drenched, soaked with water. We reached early morning. I won't like to elaborate, but we reached early morning. We got ready and came back to the auditorium, to the pandal where the show was to. Pandit Nehru along with Panchit Lama came, and we were to start the song. And suddenly, when the song signal was given by the school teacher, we started singing Vande Mataram. And then there was a confusion because we had to start with Jana Gana Mana Adhinayak, and then there was a confusion. But I don't know what went to Pandit Nehru. He signaled the teacher to allow both the songs to go on one after the other. And that was a tremendous, we shouted after the show, Chacha Nehru Zindabad, and all sorts of things. That was a child's emotion. That was a children's emotion. We enjoyed coming. I remember once there was a notice circulated that there should be a Shram Dan to make India an industrial or India a very strong economy. And there was a Farakka barrage which was under construction. It was an earthen dam then. I saw it later when I was posted to NTPC and went to Farakka several times. I recall having gone there for almost about a month with high school and middle school children in train, led by a couple of teachers, and we stayed there carrying earth cutting earth, putting in the buckets and going to the dam and pouring it. Today, when there was an opportunity to cross over the dam by train, I recall that this is a dam which I also contributed in building of it. I don't know what kind of energy, what kind of strength was being put in the school students, rural school students. Then, in the method of studies, although we were attending classes only 4 up to lunchtime, beyond which it was all free in the playground, in the craft ground, and so that was the background we had gone through. I passed out, did not join any other company, but a neighbor company, Usha Martin Black, a wire ropes company. I was given a table and a chair in the time office at the gate, and I was to control about 3 timekeepers and the pay check makers. Those days, the pay used to be put in a kind of envelope, and the cash. So the timekeepers would put the pay slip made by hand and the cash in the envelope, and when this workers would queue up in the timekeeper gate, they would make the payment. It was very crude way, but that was the best way that was possible then. And I had to oversee them. I had just started, I did not learn anything. Learning went on as we moved on. It was evolving with us. As I said, I came to Hindustan Steel. From there, I moved on to NTPC. There was a journey which was building of a SAIL as an organization. I was posted to Kolkata and Central Sales Organization and Central Transport Shipping. When Wadud Khan and Bhaya and so Hiten Bhaya and so many other people, big stalwarts, used to come and sit in our office in Kolkata. It was a great experience meeting them, talking to them, serving them small things, even some snacks for them, even receiving them at the airport. How much of strength we were getting every day through this learning was immense. And then suddenly SAIL was announced. HSCL, one of the companies, was formed, and MRR Nair, one of the leading guys, he picked me up. He said, "Come with me to Bokaro Steel Plant," and that's how I came to Bokaro Steel Plant. Saw a steel plant, worked there for a couple of years. It was a mess. So much of agitation. There were about 50 unions. So much of violence. So much of shooting by police or the other gangs. We used to survive in them. Survive with the family, my wife, my kids. I don't know how we used to pass time. That we were called the personnel officers or whatever. And grew into that. I remember having moved to international business of HSCL, from where Nair posted me to Iraq, and that was exactly 1979 or so. And I got a family posting, so we agreed because there was a lot of money coming. There was no money in our hand. It was not a time when paychecks were big, even that you were managers or senior managers. The day we sold out everything, we were very enthusiastic and happy. We sold out everything in the house, which was sold for a peanut. We were about to go for airport when the war between Iraq and Iran broke. I don't know if there could have been a bigger tragedy in our life than that. Yes, there were, but then all the same, this was shocking. Both of us, we came back from the airport and did not know what to do, where to go. Our house was rented to somebody else. Our property was sold. We had a couple of suitcases. So we said, okay, let's go to our mother's place, and came to Ranchi. I got my kids admitted, put my wife there, and went to Chandigarh, where the consortium headquarters was there with Punjab Kemi, with Larsen and Nielsen. And Abu Khalid and Company Limited or something from Kuwait, who were the uh, who gave us the business. So I reached Iraq alone because I didn't want to leave that opportunity.
On a few items to continue.
But when I reached there, it was amazing. It was a different world. It was a different language. But one thing was great, that although there was a national emergency in Iraq, the Iraqis were very nice people, very supportive people, welcoming people, and so much of respect for Indians. I don't know how. Maybe it was the First World War and Second World War when the Britishers had abandoned the Indian army there. Those people who became Hajis later by passage of time had a very good conduct and behavior. They even married the Iraqi women and stayed over there, became virtual Iraqis. There was markets in their name, Souk al Hanoud, the Indian market, where I think we had a good time there. Although there was an emergency in our camps, there were bombings going on from across the Shatt al Arab when Iran's shells ground to ground 40 kilometer, 30 kilometer range or whatever range they used to come, shell. Some people used to get hit and some people died also. But that was a challenge. That was a challenge. We learned through that challenge every day, every time. There was no training, there was no kind of a curriculum taught to us. We were to learn as we went along. So, as I said in the beginning, things evolved for us. Things evolved for us in the learning mode. And as I said, we were very enthusiastic. There were so many challenging moments that came in Iraq despite the support. I remember when I would go to RBI, the Reserve Bank of Iraq, for repatriation of our salaries and principles of that. Every time I'll enter Iraq, I'll get up in the morning, 3 o'clock, start driving from Basra to Baghdad, go to the office. The Iraqi sentries and security there immediately look at me and say, "Inte Hanoud, are you an Indian?" And I would say, "Aywa." And they would say, "Ro, go in. I mean, they would not open my briefcase, they would not ask for my passport. What a people, what a kind of trust they had on Indians. It was amazing. I mean, we have to learn from people like this, that yes, we must, unless there is trust, we can't progress in relationship, in any kind of business or commerce. But anyway, we came back after 2 years. My wife had come in between. That is another challenging story. She was given the ticket by my main corporate owners with my two little daughters, 5 years and 7 years or so. It took her almost 3 days from New Delhi to Basra to reach there. There was no communication, there was no mobile, there was no telephone. There was telex not working, national emergency declared. If you want to book a call, they will not connect you. And you will be always in challenge, crisis. I learnt Iraqi or Arabic. I was talk to the telephone operators in Iraqi or say Arabic, and they would be very happy. They would try to connect me. The only way of communication was the diplomatic bag, which we used to put some letters through the consulate general there, who was posted in Iraq and India from India, and he would take away our dak twice a week, which would take about a week's time to reach the family. No communication. I got a communication through a friend of mine in Punjab Kemi, who said that your wife has left 2 days back via Delhi and Bombay. Receive them at Safwan border, the Iraqi and Kuwaiti border. You would be surprised. I stayed at the Safwan border, which was a no man's land border kind of a, and from there, in my Venet, I waited for 3 days continuously with eating some kubus or raw bread on the border custom area. Third day, a bus enters, like so many buses entering every day from Kuwait, and there I see my wife Chitra with two of my daughters, all virtually uh, without energy, without strength, sleepy. I receive them, bring them to my car, get the customs cleared, immigration done, and then bring them to the camp where I had a house. It was a sight to see these three kids and three people. I hats off to Chitra that she managed this journey, because Kuwait was a dangerous place. You know, if you don't know English, if you don't know Arabic, then you had trouble. But she somehow, by her intelligence and courage, primarily courage, brought the kids also along with her with no danger. That was a relief given to me virtually. When I landed back in India after my Iraq international posting without any global training, there was no global training given to us when we were thrown like this. From some people of my batch were sent to Libya in Tripoli or Benghazi, but they were selected and posted for their talent or their skill or experience they had. I came back to India and came to HSCL office. I made up my mind that I must change the company and started applying and got a job in NTPC immediately. I don't know, I was lucky at that time and got posted to Korba. The Korba again violence. I mean, they never left me. My boss, while giving me farewell in HSCL, said Sinha had all sorts of problems continuously. He was always on fire. Now he is going to Madhya Pradesh. He will be at peace. And the moment I landed, in a month's time, there was a violence, there was a plant shut down, and so many other problems. I think a series of them. I said my luck doesn't leave me behind any such uh, developments in my life. I was under the circumstances, whatever developed, I used to run whole night to the MP house or the MLA house, seeking support to the collector. Everybody was acting political. But anyway, out of frustration and out of my anxiety to protect my officers, I resigned from the company, NTPC. That was surprising that my journey in NTPC would end so soon. I never knew. But one of my senior colleague, Shahi, R.V. Shahi, he called me to Delhi. Said, no, you must come and first meet us. So I came to Delhi next day. And Nair met me, Shahi met me, ultimately I was convinced that I must accept a posting in Delhi corporate office rather than quit my job and get disheartened. So that's how my second chapter of NTPC began. And but it was a story of that period was very tough period for all Indian economy. Indian economy was always down, and I remember in the mid 90s it started looking up after the LPG came in. Narasimha and Manmohan government brought in some couple of changes, major changes. India started looking up. Indian economy started looking up and looking up towards healthy competition. Well, I became a director HR in NTPC sometime in 97, and that was the time I had about 10 years to go, so I considered myself lucky. But I had a lot of things to be done in NTPC. A lot of change and transformation was needed in NTPC because there was a lot of strife and agitation and dislike and hatred. So I brought in and dealt with somewhere with iron hand, somewhere with velvet fist. I continued in NTPC till about 2005. I had about 3 years to go more, but somehow, uh, the financial need and all, uh, prompted me to leave the company and join Reliance. So I joined as a director HR of Reliance Energy, and then moved across. When the brothers were divided, I moved on towards Mukesh Ambani side as a executive president in HR and advisor HR. There a couple of years, then came back because my wife was still in uh, Delhi, Greater Noida. Greater Noida was a deserted place then, so I found a job here with. Although they were nice, Mukesh Bhai gave me an indication that I can continue coming every week to Delhi, look at my family, go back. Every Friday I used to come for about more than a year. Evening I'll come back to Greater Noida, and Monday morning I'll fly back to Bombay. It was a good, comfortable time, except the physical comfort. But there was a lot of learning. There was a lot of meeting people who were big people, rich people, poor people, great people, and empowering people, particularly, who allowed me to learn, who allowed me to experiment everywhere, whether it was public sector or private sector. I joined Naveen Jindal as a director of personnel or director HR in their group HR, the Jindal Power Limited, Jindal Steel, and all other cross businesses that he had adopted or we were taking over. I worked with him for some time, structured his organization in terms of HR and systems. They were very happy. I was very happy. But I did not want to continue any longer in corporates. I put down my and said that I will not like to work anymore in the corporates. Enough is enough. I'm tired. And I don't know whether I was tired, but I was tired of. I wanted some different kinds of organizations. But when I resigned, I was not allowed by Naveen Bhai to go. Dialogues and discussions went on, but ultimately he knew that I am fixed guy. He let me out. Same place where I am giving this interview today. I was having one day suddenly in the summer, Dr. Harivansh Chaturvedi, my director in the Birla Institute, he came and sat here in the afternoon after lunch, saying that I am coming to your house for the first time, and I am so and so. I heard about you, that you are free and available, and I know you don't want to go to the corporate world. Why don't you come and join us? And I had not thought of joining a business school. But he said it would be exciting and we will give you full freedom and respect. And I talked to my wife Chitra, and both of us decided, instead of sitting at home and enjoying the whatever money you could earn at the fag end of my corporate life, it's better to spend some time with them and learn, continue learning. And my passion for learning was there. So I said quietly I should keep learning whatever So I was asked to establish ultimately a Center for Management Development as an executive education part. Started corporate consultancies also in couple of large projects like Damodar Valley, like Aditya Birla, Ultratech. It went on for years, but also small one project consultancies like with NTPC or some other companies also. But gradually, it's almost about 10 years now. Almost 10 years now. It's been a long but very satisfying tenure that I had with Birla Institute of Management Technology, particularly the kind of leader I had in Dr. Chaturvedi, very empowering, very respecting, and allowing me options to create. I never thought in my life that I'll write a book. I'll be able to write a book. I'm just narrating a couple of, and apart from management training that we used to do some 90 to 100 programs sometimes in the middle of my 10 years tenure. He said, why don't you write a book about your own learning that you had, experiments that you did in NTPC and all. And that was the beginning. I never knew how to write a book. I never knew how to research. But I came out with a book, and it was my experiments in unleashing people power in entities. I think that was the first book. I kept on writing a couple of books after because of his encouragement. But it was an institute which attracted me all the time. Every moment of my tough life, my feeling of failures, although I was never told by Chaturvedi sir or anybody else that I'm not performing or I'm not successful, I used to always have that hunch that I have to do more, I have to do new, I have to do better. So I have to always keep on struggling and bringing better opportunities for the institute. It was an institute which was led by late Sri B.K. Birla ji, and my respect for them, not because I was working in an institute founded by late B.K. Birla ji or Madam Sarla Birla ji, who were themselves educationists of the first order. But BK was one of the best sons, I would say, to GD. And GD I used to always respect because of his role in the national movement, because of his role and strength and courage that he demonstrated against the British colony Raj. He could stand up and open a bank for the first time from Indian corporates. United Commercial. I think it was unbelievable. If you read the story, or he was able to start FICCI, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce. It was not only business, a jute business or a cotton business or metal business of aluminium or whatever. He was good. His family was not a favor of industry. They were favoring trading and satta and all those. He said, no, I'll be different. He moved to Bombay, he moved to Calcutta. A great guy and great son. I remember GD's letter to BK. Amazing letter. It's a memorable letter. I think it was a wonderful working with a house which was owned by this family, which has been owned by this family, and still continues. I think even the family members now involved in it, they are supporting with the mind of Gandhian mind, at the same time modernized Gandhian mind in terms of bringing better performance and every day improving the performance of the organization. I think it's a pleasure working in this, and I like to wish all the best on this Foundation Day happening on the 2nd October, which was also birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, whom I celebrate always. Thank you very much. Pleasure talking.